it's Jessica here, and it is the third Saturday of the month, which means it's the Mad About Mini Paper Pad series where we are challenging ourselves to use up all those mini paper pads that we have. So I am doing something a little bit different today. I'm starting out with my paper here that I have added some white gesso, or actually some clear gesso. I used clear on this one today. Even though I have white paper, I still used clear, but I put some gesso on there with my spatula, and I'm pulling out some Shimmerz inks here, or Shimmerz paints, and I'm just adding a little bit of water to activate them in the pots, and then I'm going to use some packaging here just to apply and kind of swoosh it around on my layout. So I'm going to be adding a couple layers of these colors, just blending them together, adding some water, adding some splatters, drying with my heat gun in between, just getting that applied onto my paper, and I'm going to place a cut file on top of that. So the gesso on my paper allows the paper not to warp up too bad whenever adding a whole bunch of mixed media and all of those wet mediums to it. So another thing that I like to do too is I like to run it through my hot laminating machine, because that actually smooths out any warps at all that I may have. So it makes it dry completely, and it smooths out the paper so it's nice and flat. So that's another trick that I like to do. So I have my cut file here by Pear Tree Cut Files. I'm just finishing up my colors here, getting them all applied on my paper. And here's my heat gun here that I'm using because I'm super impatient on letting this dry. And then I did end up, I think this is the layout that I ended up running through my laminator too. Baby girl is coming in to say hello at the bottom of my frame there with her little ice cream cone topper thing. She has these little set of ice cream cones that are buildable, and she just brought one over. So I pulled out a few papers here while that's running through my hot laminating machine. Papers, not papers, pictures. I don't know. So I have a whole bunch of photos here. This is how I actually print mine. I print them in wallet size on my computer, which prints a whole bunch onto one 8.5 by 11 size photo paper. I have a Canon Pixma photo printer, and it can do pretty large. I think it's like up to 14 inches wide. So I like to print on 8.5 by 11 photo paper. I use Canon for my photo paper as well. I stick to the same brand as my printer, as I found that works best for me and produces the best results. So I am just working on my cut file now. I'm actually putting a photo inside the word O here. This one, this cut file is by Pear Tree Cut Files. I'll link that below in case you want to grab that from her shop. I am totally missing being on that team right now, and I'm missing playing along with all the cut files that she creates. They're all just so beautiful, and she has such amazing releases every single month, and I'm sure this month is not going to disappoint either. So here is where I am pulling in all of my mini papers. So typically we use mini paper pads for this series, but I have been really enjoying pulling out my mini project life cards. So these are the pocket cards that go in those pocket pages, but I have an entire bin of these and then some. So I have several collections outside of my bin, and then a humongous bin of them just stuffed full of these little cards. So I haven't been using them because I haven't been making many project life pocket pages or anything like that. So this is a great way for me to actually use some of these papers up and get them onto a layout. So I just basically pulled out some that coordinated with each other to match my camping theme, and I'm going to fussy cut that little geo tag there on the right. And I'm actually going to use that at the top of my layout. And then here, I'm just manually backing the rest of my cut file. So I'm just taking the negative piece of the letter off of my cutting mat, holding it on top of my paper, and just cutting out around that, just leaving a little bit of a border so I have something to glue to the actual cut file piece. So I work from behind whenever I am actually gluing them down. So I like to get them all cut out first and just lay them out and make sure that they're the way that I like them and the colors go together the way that I want. So I like to lay it all out and then just kind of glue everything down together. So here is my little geotag. I'm cutting that out. I'm going to put that right at the top there somewhere. My paper's not here yet, so it's still, I guess it's probably done at this point running through my laminator, but it's sitting beside me. So I will grab that here in a second. And we'll start placing everything down onto my paper. But here is how I manually back my cut file. I'll pull out my Nuvo glue to actually do the gluing of all of my letters to the backside of the cut file. I like that Nuvo Deluxe adhesive that's sitting there on my desk. That's probably my favorite one, along with Thermalweb's Ultra Bond liquid adhesive to do cut files with, because it dries clear. So you don't have to worry about seeing it anywhere if it smushes through the front or anything like that. It dries super clear, so you never see it. There's my finished cut file. It's all glued together now. And here is my paper that just came out of my laminator. I'm just roughing up the edges with my edge distressor on that little geotag. I'm going to place that somewhere there at the top. And then I've also cut my photos down into some tag shapes with some Elle Studio tag dies in my Big Shot machine. That's something that I absolutely love to do. I love the effect and the way that it makes the photos really pop on the page. And I just love tags in general on pages. So that's kind of one of my go-to things right now. And then all of this beautiful mixed media and this background, I really wanted to just enhance it. So I don't want to add a ton of things to this layout, which is kind of odd for me because typically I add so much stuff to my pages, but I'm trying to tone this down and trying really hard not to add a ton of stuff. So I've just pulled out some random bits from my camping bin. I have 2 full camping bins here that I keep most of my camping collections in, and I'm just pulling some random bits together and just kind of grabbing things that match or coordinate with it. So I've grabbed that little backpack, and I've grabbed some Flair by Scrappin Happy Studio that are camping themed. So I'm gonna pop some of those on there. Those are the canvas ones, so they're not the shiny epoxy ones, they're canvas, which is super cool. And then I'm gonna grab some thread and actually pop in behind those as well. So I found this cute little sticker here that says explore, and then I am going to do some doodling on my letters. I felt like the black letters really needed something to make them pop, so I just grabbed my white gel pen and I'm just doing some little doodles here, just kind of making the letters look like they're bubbly or like they're shiny kind of on the edges. So I'm just making some outlines with my pen. And then I've grabbed some sequins here. You can see on the right side of my glass mat there. I'm going to start attaching those to my layout using some of that same Nuvo glue. And the mix that I'm using today is by the Not Just for Boys Kit Club. So I have a ton of sequins and I love using them on layouts. It just adds a nice sparkle to the layouts and kind of enhances that mixed media, which is exactly what I want to do. So I'm going to pull things off here for a second because I want to get that cut file down on my page so it's where I want it to be. My tape gun runs out, so I have to take a minute to refill that. My tape refills I usually get from tapejungle.com because they are pretty much the cheapest place that I've found to get them, and you can order them in bulk, which is what I love. So I get like a whole box of them. And they're fairly cheap and they have really good quality. I've ordered them cheaper from other places before, and I wasn't happy with the quality of them at all. They didn't work very well. It kept breaking and just wasn't working out. So that seems to be what works best for me. So I've got my Flair there from Scrappin Happy Studio. I'm going to pull out some glue dots. I'm going to add a couple more stickers here. I'm going to add some thread behind that Flair. See, I have multiple sticker sheets that I'm working with. I'm just pulling little bits and pieces, which is not something that I used to do. I think my friend Wendy is like rubbing off on me because she really pulls things together quite nicely and just has a real knack for grabbing random pieces and making them look like they all belong together on a layout. And I think she's really rubbing off on me because I'm starting to do the same exact thing and just grabbing this and that from each collection and not really caring in particular who it's from or who makes it or whatever. So I like to have fun with my layouts lately and really enjoying using up some of the stash because I have a ton of stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I could probably invite like 10 friends over and just have them go to town on my scrapbook stuff, just tell them to bring photos, and I would still have enough for an entire lifetime. But I need to like start using up some of my stuff and stop ordering so much, but you know how it goes. So I pulled in a couple little bits from Symbol Stories here, some wordy bits at the bottom. I am going to go ahead and work on this Flair, grabbing some thread. This is like a gray color. It wasn't black, but it's like a charcoaly gray, I guess, or it's really dark, but it wasn't quite black. I couldn't find my black one actually. So full disclosure on that. I think it's actually upstairs because I was working, my kids were upstairs the one night and I took a couple things and worked on a 4x4 album upstairs, and I think I took the black one up there. Where I can hear them right now. They're in the background. They're just in the other room. I can see them, but my baby girl is like stuck in between a chair right now, and she's okay. But like kids do the craziest things, don't they? I swear, they just love to get into things. And she's a climber, so I call her like my little monkey because her and my middle child are both, they are both climbers and have been climbers. Like my middle child, I've called him monkey since day one, and now she's becoming one too. She just loves to climb on everything. And she's not quite walking yet, but she's kind of getting to that point where I think she's going to want to walk soon. And she stands up and just stands there on her own, but doesn't move. Yeah, it's kind of funny, but I know she's going to be walking soon. I'm just still not ready for my first one to be walking. So finishing up this layout, I've added all those beautiful sequins by Not Just for Boys, and then did my date stamp. So here's the finished layout. I'm going to link everybody that's playing along with the series down below in the description, so make sure you check them out and give them some love on their channels as well. They're all so amazing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.